Wow, so it's just you in the house tonight, huh?
Yeah,
Cat's away, the mouse will play.
that's the idea. I sent my wife out. I gave her a book of coupons, and it says tonight drinks are on me Thursday nights. And it's like they're tear off stickers.
Yeah,
They're tear off coupons, so it's like a tear off calendar sort of, and it sits on the
sure.
fridge. And every Thursday she tears one of the tickets off, and she goes out and she just drinks somewhere. I don't know where, but
Yeah.
she brings the receipts back, and I reimburse her.
That's really kind of you.
I just need some time to myself. Everyone works from home now, so I can't just leave. I don't like going out, and neither does she.
Yeah.
Because we live in the city, so it's pretty dangerous at nighttime. Show Uber to different bars and stuff, bring the receipts back. I stay at home and I just do whatever the hell I want. It's kind of like it's like a variation of a staycation. I'm staying home, but it's just a little bit different because she's not here.
Yeah. That's kind of like what my wife does to me. She'll send me out to get things that don't exist.
Okay.
She'll be like, it's really important that I need the bubblegum flavor of Herbal Essences shampoo. And if you don't get it, they'll be held to pay. So I just basically spend 4 or 5 hours driving around looking for this fucking shampoo that doesn't exist.
She probably screams at you. She's like, no, I need it now.
And then when I come back, I'm like, I looked everywhere and I couldn't find it. And then she says, you fucking idiot. Why didn't you look it up online and see that it didn't exist? How come you wasted everybody's time driving around? So somehow it's my fault still. See how they do that?
Yeah, you can't win.
No.
You really can't. You can't win.
Welcome to the Fantasy Cast podcast, where 3 grown men pass the time by sharing their deepest, darkest fantasies. Here we go.
I was thinking about getting us started this evening with reading a fantasy that I picked up off of Reddit.
Okay, lay it on me.
We have a little hot and cold relationship with Reddit. It's a great source for erotic material, but also they kicked us off because somebody told them that I had a rape fantasy about Huey Lewis, but that's, if you listen to the fantasy, there's nowhere in that fantasy that I say it wasn't consensual, what I did to him. All right, so this is called My New Girlfriend Moved In and I Made Her Fuck the Delivery Guy. This is a nonfiction. This is from the subreddit Sexy Stories. My new girlfriend moved in with me last Friday, and it has been the most fun I've ever had with a girl. Friday afternoon, she came over and got her stuff sorted out and organized, and I found out some interesting things about her, like she doesn't own a single pair of bras or panties. She's heavily into exhibitionism, and she owns around 13 or 14 sex toys. So all in all, she's a very kinky person who can actually surpass my sex drive. But more on that later. So after we finished moving her stuff in, we were pretty exhausted because it took almost around 3-4 hours to get everything in and organized. So she and I took a shower together. We didn't have sex in there. Instead, we were just feeling each other. Afterwards, she and I came out, dried ourselves, and had a drink while watching a movie. During that time, we ordered takeout, and it was said to arrive in 30 or 40 minutes. I suggested that she should be nude in front of the delivery guy and see how things go on from there. And she was totally into it. She got one of her butt plugs and a vibrator and waited until the delivery guy came along. Meanwhile, I set up a small camera on the doorway just to get his reaction. Sometime later, the guy showed up at the door and rung my doorbell. My girlfriend got up to go answer the door. She was already nude and had the butt plug in her, and the vibrator was in one of her hands. She opened the door, and the delivery guy, who was a tall, dark-skinned man, just stood there smiling at her. She took the food inside, set it aside on the table, and gave him her card to pay. Throughout all of that, the man was slowly touching himself. She had given him the wrong card, so it kept declining, and she was using the vibrator and moaning the whole time. And the man was trying to use the card. He eventually said that it didn't work, so my girlfriend went back inside to get another card. While she was looking for her card, the man pulled his dick out and started jerking off. When my girlfriend got back with the card, he was still jerking off in front of her. And after the payment, and just as he was about to leave, my girlfriend grabbed his dick, pulled him inside, and closed the door. He quickly took his pants off, lifted her, and started fucking her. I was in my room, and I could hear their fucking from all the way downstairs. After a minute or two, the guy noticed the butt plug and pulled it out. He called my girlfriend a dirty slut and shoved the butt plug down her mouth. Another minute or two passes, and the guy puts her on the floor and comes all over her face. The guy quickly got redressed and went away, and my girlfriend came over to me, and I took it from there onwards. It was really hot, and I can't wait to do more things with her. That's it.
Wow. That's really hot.
Yeah, so what are some reactions to that?
It's hot because it's so exciting to move in with your first girlfriend. You know, it sounds like they moved everything in around 4 hours.
Yeah.
That's like including the rental, throwing a bunch of garbage bags from her mother's house into the truck, and then I guess just bringing it into this apartment. That's got to be in like an apartment complex in the suburbs or something. And they're just giddy, and you know they have no furniture. You know they got like a couch, maybe a gaming chair, piece of shit thing to put the TV on.
Glass coffee table.
So they got cheap thrills. They're excited. They're young kids, and
they're playing house, you know?
Yes, exactly. The coffee table's not clean. It has residue from sweet and sour packages, stuff on it. There's like an ashtray that just like, the only way to get it clean would be to use steel wool, but they haven't figured out steel wool yet.
Right.
They haven't used it yet. And I want to know, okay, so they're all giddy and shit. No underwear or bras. Fair enough. Not a big deal. Weird. What kind of food did they order? Why'd the credit card get declined?
That's the part of the story that got me the most excited, is when the credit card got declined, because we all know what that feeling's like. You all of a sudden start panicking that you have no money left in your account. So she's like rummaging through trying to find another card because she's like, oh shit, how am I going to pay for this? That's a thrill.
While holding and using a sex toy. So she's like nervously doing this, which is weird.
With a butt plug in her ass.
Really weird, like apologizing profusely, but also doing this other stuff. What do you think the food they ordered?
I think the food that they ordered was P.F. Chang's.
Yeah, I'm getting a Chinese food kind of thing. I don't know why.
Well, I think that they wanted something. It seemed like a celebratory moment, but they're both like degenerate and broke. Don't have 2 pennies to rub together. They're living in some exurb somewhere, and the only thing that they have access to is some kind of chain that's slightly above grade. You know, it's not Panda Express. It's just like the one above it.
They plan this out. They're like, we're going to do this. And then he quickly sets up a camera to view this happening. And then he's in another room viewing it and just smiling at his cell phone, I guess. Like it's the feed or the receiver of the camera.
Yeah, but he just has the camera set up at the door. So he only catches that part. You know, the other stuff he just picks up through listening.
You think he's peeking through like a little crack in a door?
I think he's peeking through a little crack in the door, smiling, grinning from ear to ear.
Yeah, totally. He's like a little kid again.
Yeah. Just to see what kind of surprise happens.
This is like mommy and the plumber again.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
So they're fucking around playing house. Here comes this, grade A stud delivery
tall
guy. You know.
Yeah.
Tall. dark complexion. He sees this woman walk up to him naked, playing with herself with a vibrator, struggling to pay for this food that he has in his hand. He does what most of us would do in that situation. He just starts jacking off, standing at the door, like darkening her door frame. You know what I mean? Just like looming, lurching inside.
Yeah. He starts masturbating.
Just pleasuring himself out in the hallway or whatever of their apartment building.
He's doing some math for a bit.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? First he's startled. He's trying to figure out what's going on. Then the card declines. Did she know the card declined? She must have known. She did it on purpose. So he's like, okay, I see what's going on here. This isn't a crazy person. This is actually a really sharp person. They set it up.
She gave him a Banana Republic discount card.
Right. Doesn't even have a magnetic strip on it.
Yeah.
No, he tries it knowing it's not going to work. He's like, nope, this isn't working for some reason.
Yeah.
No foreplay.
No.
Lifts her up.
Yeah.
Because she's primed.
Yeah.
They start doing it standing up. Does he shoot? Does he blast?
Yeah. He slut shames her for having a butt plug, and then she drops on all fours and he blasts on top of her while she's on the ground.
Oh, right. He's like, gross. Yeah, very weird. He pulls it out and sticks it in her mouth.
Mm-hmm. The butt plug, yeah. He gets really aggressive with it. And the thing that
pretty wild.
The thing that came to my mind is I just imagine him, like, he gets back from this delivery and he's talking to like the other delivery drivers that are smoking out in front of like the PF Chang's. He's like, yo, you would not believe what I just fucking did. And he just comes up with this crazy story that sounds totally made up, and nobody believes him, you know?
No. That's the craziest thing about it. This crazy thing happened to him. No one's going to believe him.
Oh, might as well not have happened. You know what I would do if that was me?
What's that?
If I was the delivery driver, we'll just start there. I see this woman. She's absolutely, completely naked. She's playing with herself with a vibrator. She comes to the door. Obviously, this is a setup. Yeah. Nothing good is coming from this. I don't care who you are, where you live, what your life experience has been like. This kind of stuff just doesn't happen, you know, outside of like a porno or something like that. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, what's the game here? Doesn't mean I'm not going to try to work some angle. It just means I'm going in a little bit cautious, you know? So I'm ignoring her entirely. Not ignoring her. Like I'm interacting with her as though I was just a regular delivery guy delivering my food. I hand her the food and she hands me the fake credit card and I try to run it. And she's like, oh my God. She goes inside to try to find another credit card, you know, to kind of keep me around. I unscrew the light bulb that's above her door. So it's just completely pitch black. I slip into her house while her back is turned. I shut the door behind me, so it seems like I just left. This is a new house that they just moved in, so I try to get into like a crawl space or somewhere where she doesn't know where I am, and I start making noises like the house is haunted.
Yeah,
you know, I start making like creaking noises every now and then. You know, she's hot to trot. She's been playing with herself. Her dickhead boyfriend is like down in the his bedroom, like peeping in on her. And she just, I start like unplugging appliances, plugging them in. She's getting really freaked out. She calls her boyfriend to take a look at some of the stuff that's happening. I jump out and I scare them. I take their dinner and I take a couple of pairs of his underwear and I just run out of there and I drive away and I eat their dinner somewhere. Pulled over on the side of the road.
I mean, they'd probably call and complain. You'd probably lose your job.
You think so? I feel like it's one of those situations.
I think it opens up a door in your life. I think it sends you down you have to escalate from that point on.
No, I think they're too chicken shit. I think if they did that, they would risk exposing themselves. You know, these are some young kids. They don't know what kind of consequences there are.
Sorry, I didn't mean to step on your fantasy.
No, but they know what kind of man I am. They know I'm the kind of person that would sneak into their house and wait around for a couple of hours to make them think their house is haunted.
Yeah.
Jump out, take their dinner.
That's
probably cold at that point. Grab a couple pair of this guy's undies.
Yeah.
And just run out of there.
Steal the remote control.
Yeah, I was also thinking about what you said the other day about jumping out of a window and hitting the air conditioners. I think it'd be funny to just dive out of the window, and it's like 3 stories up, so it's pretty high, but it's not high enough to kill me. And I grab their food, I grab his undies, I dive out of the window, I sprain my ankle, and I'm just like limping off, running away. And they're like, "Hey, get back here! Hey, get back here with my dinner!"
That'd be cool. I'd probably do something a little bit different.
Yeah.
I do take it to where I start masturbating. I'm masturbating, but I'm like still. I finish the transaction. I put the card in, and I do that thing where I'm like, is there any tip or anything like that? This is while I'm like touching myself and stuff.
Yeah.
Is there any tip? I pressure into giving me like a $5 tip. We just start doing it, but I'm being like pretty vanilla about the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm like trying to take it slow. I'm like taking it too seriously. Like I'm trying to give her the impression that like I think I have a girlfriend now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I love this so much. Whispering things like that. You know what I mean? Just being like very just passionate and caring.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And she doesn't know what to do. It kind of fries her brain, and like she's not into it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I just start crying and stuff. You know what I mean? I'm going on and
Yeah.
on about how hard it is to make ends meet. And then the guy comes out. He's like, "Look, man, you gotta go." I'm like, "Who is this? Who are you? What is going on?" I'm acting like I'm really shy,
Mm-hmm.
covering myself. What is going on? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They kick me out, and it's snowing, and the light is like it's just like one of those nights. Just reminds you, just like, why the fuck do I live in this shithole city?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's snowing. The light is everything is just orange because of stupid street lights, and it's only like 5:30. That's completely black. There's no one outside, and you're just like, why do I live here? What is the point? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My feet are soaking wet. They're freezing cold. I finish up the shift, and I'm like sobbing as I'm like holding back tears as I deliver the rest of the food.
Mm-hmm.
I get home around 8:00. My feet are just like raisins because they're so wet from the snow and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I order $60 worth of Thai food. Basically my whole paycheck. I'm just looking for something to watch. I eat the food, and I have a Coca-Cola. I have 2 Coca-Colas, and I'm just like food buzz from like all the fat and sugar. You know what I mean? I wake up and I'm like, I feel so bloated from all the salt. You ever get like pizza hungover where you're just like so salty? And it's my day off, and I don't get up till like 10:00. I go to a bar to meet some friends who like football. I don't like football, but I'm hanging out with them. I just can't connect with them anymore, really. They're asking me what's wrong. I start crying at the table, you know, and I tell them what's going on, and they're like disgusted with me. They're like, that's not what you should have done.
Yeah.
You idiot. One of the friends gets like super pissed off because he's like furious that if he was in the opportunity, he would have done things like way differently. He's like, "Did you even nut, bro?" And I don't want to answer. He's like, "Did you even blast? Did you blast, bro?" This is in the bathroom. They took me aside because I was like hysterical in the bar and grill. And like he finally gets it out of me, and I'm like, no. And he punches me in the stomach. And I throw up, and he kicks me in my side, and he just beats the living shit out of me.
Yeah, you're pathetic.
Yeah, I had this great opportunity, a once in a lifetime opportunity,
Yeah.
to get as dirty as I wanted. an absolute grade A freak.
Yeah.
And I blew it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the end.
You're gonna piggyback off of your fantasy a little bit. It's like you get in the house.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sitting there. I like see her and she's naked or doesn't have whatever, however she's displaying herself, and I'm like playing really like shy and coy. I'm like, oh shit, should I turn away or like, oh my god, this is way too much, and she's eating it up because I'm just putty in her hand. I keep rubbing my hands together and like looking at her and licking my lips, and then I keep like rubbing my face, like I can't believe this is happening, but I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
And she's like turning around and like showing me her ass and like putting on a little show. And I sit down on the gaming chair and I'm like, oh my god, this is too much. Hey, you got a PS5? I bring her over and I'm like having her show me her gaming system, And then I get up and I walk into the kitchen and I start making myself a snack. And she kind of like follows me and she's trying to be more provocative to like, get me to come onto her.
Yeah.
But I don't bite. And not being dismissive, I'm like still very much engaging with her, but just from like a ogling kind of way. Like I'm assuming that she's just completely untouchable. And no matter how much she comes on to me, I just don't make a move, to the point where her boyfriend just gets so fucking frustrated because he's down there getting blue balls, waiting for me to like cuck him. And I just won't do it. So he gets up and he starts yelling at me and just like demanding that I have sex with his girlfriend. And I just don't bite. I'm just being very like shy and coy and cavalier. They're standing over me, both of them. I'm sitting on the floor eating a sloppy joe that they had left over, that I made myself a sandwich. And they're standing over me, just like berating me. They're like, won't you want to fuck her? You gotta fuck her, bro. I'm sitting there waiting around for you to fuck her. You don't even fuck her. What's wrong with you? And she's like, yeah, you don't want to fuck me? And I'm sitting there looking up at them. I'm just like, oh my god, bro, I can't believe this is happening. You're so But I just keep doing that over and over again with like no understanding and not like moving from that state of mind of like, like a middle school kid that sees his first.
There's a wall there. That's what I'm trying to say. There's a wall. You actually don't. You don't know what the problem is.
No, I don't even see it as a problem, but it's just infuriating to them, But I won't leave. That's the thing, is I won't leave their house. They try to kick me out. I won't leave.
You're like, this is home.
I'm just really settling in, making myself at home, to the point where they have to call the superintendent over.
You're watching South Park.
I'm watching South Park. I'm using the restroom. I've seen the South Park a bunch of times already. That the one that's on. I'm like, this part's really funny. They could actually say that. They don't have to bleep that.
Yeah.
So they call the superintendent over. They get the building security, who call the police.
Yeah.
By the time the police show up, I've actually endeared myself to them, and I've like broken through in a way where I'm kind of able to describe how vulnerable and uncertain I am to make a move. I'm like, dude, she's your girlfriend, bro. I can't do that. It's your girlfriend, bro.
The police are pounding on the door.
Yeah, exactly. And I snap out of it, and the police come in. They said, what's the problem? And the guy's girlfriend are like, nothing. It's okay. Everything's okay. This guy's okay. They put a blanket over me and they walk me out of the door. I stand around for a little while and then I just go home. Do you have any fantasies lined up?
Okay, I got one. I'm a 45-year-old divorced guy with glasses. I keep going to a cafe, working on a novel, typing it up. I'm wearing a gray sweater, circle glasses, like a trimmed beard. You know what I mean? Just pretty, keep to myself, pretty soft-spoken. I notice when I go there, there's like a group of women that always sit at this couch. They're always whispering and talking, sharing notes and stuff like that. And I think that's cool. One day I bring my daughter to the cafe and she has a little robot toy and you wind it up and it walks around. The robot toy ends up walking into the foot of one of the women in this group, whatever this group is. She's Asian. She's pretty good looking. In fact, all of them are. There's one with brown hair, a blonde, and a redhead. One of them looks kind of Asian. We hit it off. I'm like, I'm sorry my daughter did that. And she's like, no need to apologize. No, I'm really sorry. Like a book falls out of my bag. I'm kind of a bumbling fool. And it's a Donna Tartt book. I forget which one. Doesn't matter. And she's like, oh my God, I love that book. I'm like, oh, you're a reader? And she's like, yeah, we're all big readers and writers. We actually have a writing... Oh, I don't want to tell you about it. It's boring. My kid is like, just like knocked over a hot coffee onto someone like at the other end of the cafe or whatever. I'm like, oh, I gotta go. Fatherhood, am I right? I'm on the train. I see this woman again. We exchange numbers. We go on a date. We have sexual intercourse in her apartment on a rainy day, high rise along the lake, middle of the day. And I'm like, oh, this is going too fast. I gotta go. I'm a divorced guy. And so I go home and I'm like, there's something weird about this person. You know what I mean? This doesn't just happen to like someone like me. Next time I see her, I act really cold and mean to her at the cafe. I'm at a singles bar. It's a bar for single people. And there's a woman there that's wearing a lot of makeup and she's wearing a red dress. She starts hitting on me and I'm just sweating bullets onto my forehead using a handkerchief to wipe it off because I'm such a nerd. She's like, I love books too. I love writing and everything like that. We end up having sex in the back of her pickup truck that she has parked in the back. And it's a little more aggressive. I don't like it. The energy is just really aggressive and it's just a bit too much. Yeah, I blast and it was fun. I've got to experience the most intimate thing a person can do with another person, second to holding their hand while dying in this car with this person. And I'm driving home and I'm going to sleep in my apartment. And I'm like, oh shit, I think she's like friends with the Asian woman that I also had sex with at the cafe. Very odd. I don't think I can go to that cafe anymore. So I go to the cafe across the street. It's also third wave and it's really good. I'm taking a shit in the bathroom. Someone starts pounding on the door. Let me in, help me. I open the stall and they're like, my boyfriend's trying to kill me. You know what I mean? She's running from someone. We have sex in there. And it's sweet, but it's also, it's scary. It's sad. It's like really dramatic. Okay. And then I have sex with like the last person somehow. Let's say like, I go to like a fun, like a black tie event. And then like we have sex on like in a helicopter or something like that. Okay. I'm reading the newspaper one day and it says local troop writes amazing book about local man. And I'm like, what? Okay, and it's a book about these 4 women. It's like an experimental book. They all wrote about having sex with me and how they became obsessed with me, seeing me at the cafe. You know what I mean? And each one has a distinct different style. One's like Shakespearean. One is like Donna Tartt. The Donna Tartt fan wrote it like Donna Tartt. Another one writes it like Thomas Wolfe or something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this drives me fucking totally insane. You know what I mean? I'm putting all the pieces together, little clues and all that as I'm driving. And I start smoking again. I haven't smoked in years. And I'm just thinking back on like all that. I was like, I thought women liked me. You know what I mean? And they wanted to have sex with me for pure reasons. Like they were attracted to me. Cigarette burns my fingers. I drop the cigarette because I'm just spacing out thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the Pacific Northwest. The cigarette falls on the ground and I'm like trying to stamp it out. I look up, a fucking truck filled with logs smashes into me, dude. Kills me instantly. My daughter has to grow up with no fucking father now.
Oof.
Because of this book that they wanted, this little book that they wanted to write about me.
That's pretty fucking low down. That's cool. I imagine you reading the book and you're not necessarily pissed off that they wrote a book about having sex with you, but creative choices that they made in depicting the story just really get under your skin. Like
they describe me wrong. They make me seem like really pompous.
Yeah, they describe you as being like more feminine than you are.
Yeah.
They describe some music that you're listening to, but they get the artist wrong and it totally paints you in a completely different light. Oh my
God, that would be horrible.
Like that you're listening to Mos Def and they said that you're listening to Def Leppard.
Yeah. Exactly. That's cool. Because they weren't listening.
No. They were taking like artistic license that you just found really disingenuous and lazy, honestly.
Yeah, no, I just straight up die. It's another one where I die at the end.
Yeah.
I think it's just a dramatic way to end things. It's not it's kind of funny. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, it is a sense of relief at the end of a particularly humiliating experience. You know, you finally get because how are you going to live it? How are you going to live?
Yeah, what do I have? How do I seek redemption? Would I get like a violent revenge? What do I like? No, let's read my book. You know?
Like your book is somehow better and like redeems you in some way.
If anything, I would the only other alternative would be to like move to a small town, work at like a community college.
But even then, somebody would find out. They'd be like, "Hey, you're that guy from that group of women that was on Oprah's book club that wrote a story about how they had sex with this just rotten, pathetic piece of shit."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a revenge thing. Like, we're gonna find the lamest dude we can find, and we're all gonna fuck him.
Yeah.
To prove a point.
Yeah, it was like a Neil LaBute movie.
Yeah. Just cruel for some reason.
Yeah. That's cool. I like it.
Thanks, man.
Can I hit you with one I've been working on?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thinking through. So this is a historical one. I haven't done a historical one in a while. You're basically like a sex worker for the great Khan, Genghis Khan, his dynasty. Like I'm in the concubine of one of his wives. Like I basically like serve under one of his many wives. And I'm just in the mix of all these other women that just like pleasure these Mongolian warriors, like some of the most vicious, savage, toughest warriors in the history of humanity. My life is getting fucking plowed repeatedly by these guys night after night after night, filling me up every single time, getting me off over and over and over again. I'm fed, I'm clothed, I get to learn all these different tricks of the trade. They bring in different sex workers from all around the world, all around like the conquered lands, to teach us new tricks and different techniques and different styles, different fuck styles. So I've become really good at what I do, and I grow to really love it. But at the same time, just the just general discontentedness that all humans feel kind of settles in, and I'm seeking more out of life, and I want to position myself better in the concubine pecking order. I want to become one of Genghis Khan's wives, one of his many wives, and so I'm looking for like an in. Like, how do I get in? How do I demonstrate my value to the great Khan? And while I'm getting totally ruptured by a Khan warrior, I overhear him talking to one of his warrior friends after he sprays clown all over me, and he's talking about how they're moving in on Siberia. They're moving north, and they run into all these problems. And it's really pissing off the Khan because all these like Siberian warriors, it's like really cold and brutal terrain, but they have these like packs of gray wolves that they've trained that are basically like attack dogs. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of gray wolves that just over the years learned to live with and trained as warrior dogs. And anybody that they're sent doesn't register as like a Siberian warrior. They just attack them on sight. So every time the Mongolians get anywhere near, they just like ravage their horses. It's just a whole mess, and they just can't really get a foothold in the area. They've been able to conquer everything else, but there's this one area they just haven't been able to break into. So I get the bright idea I've got a plan. I set out on my own through the cold night, and I make my way into like the main fort of the Siberian army. I dress myself up to be all innocent, and I knock on the door, and they're getting ready to release these wolves on me. But then they see that I'm just like a fair maiden. Who goes there? Are you friend or foe? And I say, I'm a friend. And they say, what business do you have here? And I say, I'm trying to get dug out. And they say, oh yeah? I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to fuck. And so they say, come on in. So they bring me in, and I just start fucking letting these guys just pipe me down. I'm getting fucked. I'm doing neck shots. Like, my neck game is so good. I'm breaking guys off. I'm probably make about 300 guys nut. I'm talking like Tarzan ropes. But every single time that they come, I pull out their dick and specifically make sure that they blast in my hair. So I'm talking like all night long, just getting my back walls just absolutely destroyed by these guys. Picture like just a whole night of partying. By the time I was done there, like, my hair is so packed with cum, it's hard like a helmet. It's like I have a fucking bowling ball on top of my head. It's just this hard glob of slimy but dried and slightly frozen cum. Right at dawn, I sneak out and I make my way back to the con. I dunk my head in a warm barrel of water, and I just let all the cum dissolve into this water. And I go to the con, and he's super pissed off. He hasn't been able to make any headway on this military front, and he's just, like walking around kicking the shit out of his subservient underlings. And I go in there and I say, I know how you can conquer these Siberians. He's like, what do you know? You're just a whore. And I say, I've been to the front. I fucked about 300 guys, and I've collected their cum in this water. And all you guys have to do is douse yourself with this cum water, and you'll pick up the scent of these Siberian soldiers. So their wolves will be passive towards you. And he says, this is very intriguing. He's eating like a piece of a horse. He's like, I find this very intriguing. And so he sends his like top tier, basically like the SEAL Team 6 of the Mongolian warriors. They just like lather themselves head to toe in this cum water, and they just slide right into that place under the cover of night and ruthlessly slaughter, slit throats and gut people, and just make an example of this Siberian fortress. Heads on pikes, everything, the whole 9 yards. The Khan, he makes me one of his wives. He gives me my own yurt to like look after. He knocks me up. I get to have a couple of his kids, and every time he's in the area where I am, which is in Siberia, it's pretty depressing. He comes over drunk off his ass and fucks me for a while, and it's not a bad life to be in the presence of greatness like that. And that's it.
Working your way up, you saw you needed to do something to get to the next level. You got lucky. You hear that they're having problems with these wolves. But then you also had the heart to go over there and the brains to pull it off.
And let me tell you one thing about
up?
this fantasy. I'm having a great time. It's not work. When I get run through by that entire Siberian army, I must come like 9 or 10 times. They just had me going on and on and on all night long, rocking my world, just absolutely demolishing me, throwing me around. I fucking love it. So it's not like it's work. When these Mongolian soldiers are having their way with me, it's not work. I'm having fun out there.
Yeah, that's
cool, you know what I mean? I know what I'm doing. I get to really just break these guys off in an amazing way because I've learned all the tricks of the trade. And they're these just jacked, savage warriors. Every woman's fantasy, giving it to me all night long. I got one.
You inspired me. The fun, you having fun, that inspired me. Okay, I'm a street kid, New York City. the 90s. Okay, I ain't had shit my whole life. I go to FAO Schwartz, New York City, one of the most magical places that I've never been to, but I think I saw it in a movie once. Warm lighting, lots of warm tones and toys. More toys than I've ever seen in my life. I'm walking around looking at toys and stuff, thinking about stealing something. I notice a mysterious woman is following me. Okay? And she's giving me like flirty eyes and stuff. You know what I mean? She's coming out like really strong. And it's scaring me. It's another example of being scared by a woman that's horny. She grabs my hand like aggressively and basically pulls me into like a back room.
Mm-hmm.
You know, stuff happens. I basically blast, right? And I fall asleep into a little ball in her lap. She's a little older. Okay. She's wearing all red. Like a red trench coat. Wool trench coat. And a floppy hat.
Carmen Sandiego.
Yeah, she looks like Carmen Sandiego a little bit. But not really. Okay, but she has that vibe. We wake up and the store's closed. And we're in there. And we get to just play with all the toys. Giant teddy bears. We have a teddy bear fight. There's a candy section. We're eating like giant lollipops and stuff.
Yeah.
And making out. You know what I mean? Holding hands. Like I feel like I've become like sexually awakened. And I feel like more casual with like making out, groping, and just like feeling like a woman's body, you know? What else do we do there? Oh, we set up like a big train track. And we have it go all over the store. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We put food on it. And the food comes and like I eat it off the top of the train track. We have sex a couple more times within like the webs of the train track. And like the train runs into her bottom. Like not her, you know, nothing too gross, but just like, I hit my butt.
Right.
And, you know, it's playful. It's fun. There's a laser tag kit. And we use that playing laser tag, chasing each other around naked. A thunderstorm starts happening. She cuts my hand open. She tells me, like, we're married, like, through witchcraft. She's, like, kind of into witch stuff. She has all these tattoos and stuff. And she has, like, a Eye of Osiris necklace and stuff like that. She's like, you and I are married. You know, she cuts my hand. She cuts, like, on her chest. And, like, I have to put my hand on her chest. And lightning strikes right at that time. It's, like, very scary. Her hair starts like puffing up. It's like electrical. You know what I mean? She starts chasing me around. I'm scared now. Like I start seeing weird things. A feeling overcomes me. She's chasing me around naked. I slip on some of my own blood. And she tackles me. You know what I mean? And she has sex with me again. And this time it's like really scary. Like her face is changing. My hands are like turning into snakes. I'm getting like visions of just like crazy stuff into my head. And that's pretty much it. I mean, the store opens up, we leave. We feel like really hungover and like weird. Everyone's going to work. The security guard's like kicks us out. What are you gonna do? You know?
Right. Yeah.
There's nothing he can do.
Yeah.
We didn't steal anything. We were just in the store. Big whoop.
Yeah, damage is done.
So deal with it. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Is what we say as we're leaving.
I like the
what's that done? We get a bagel. I see her 10 years later when I visit the city.
Yeah.
I'm a successful movie star. And I'm there with my wife and kid and we're riding the train and I see her. She looks up at me. She's wearing sunglasses. She lowers her sunglasses for a second, smiles, puts the sunglasses back up, leans her head back and just laughs. Not in like a menacing way, but like
fondly.
Yeah, like life isn't what a wild ride it is.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's great.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of intersections of pleasure and pain, awakenings, but also going to sleep.
What do you got? What do you got for me? You got something I could tell.
Yeah, no, I got something.
What's up?
I'm a chef. I'm in Palm Springs, rich area out in the desert. And I start toying around with this idea of this like way of fine dining. I've got a pretty expensive taste clientele that'll pay a lot of money for like weird, interesting foods. And so I figure out a couple of different recipes where I can cook the food with my body temperature up my ass. I start out with something real kind of simple, this Moroccan dish where you cook eggs in the heat of the afternoon, basically, And so the eggs cook just around like 100 degrees. So I crack some eggs and I put them in my body, and I just do a little bit of like exertion, just get my body temperature up. The eggs cook and I serve it to these rich people and they love it. And they're calling for more and more and more. I'm like, man, what am I going to do next? And like, how am I going to top this? Because there's not that much stuff you can cook for just like such a low temperature. So I look up this cheesecake recipe, cheesecake balls. I stick it up my ass, but I need to get a little bit hotter than just like 98.6 degrees. So I go out and it's in the desert. So I just like sit in the sun, let my body get nice and warm. It cooks and they love it. Like, I know I can't do this for that much longer because it's really not healthy. I start getting dehydrated. I go to the doctor. My doctor's like, you got to cut this out. Like, you're going to die if you keep doing this. I'm like, you don't understand. Like, this is my livelihood. I can't stop doing this, My family is worried that I'm going to die. I'm pretty sure I'm going to die. I'm like, I got to set up like one last big cook to make a big chunk of change to leave to my kids and my wife, because I'm not going to last too much longer. So I tap all of my contacts. I'm like, if you like food freaks want something really crazy, come to this dinner and I'll give you something really crazy. And so I plan on cooking just a very rare steak up my ass, like pieces of steak up my ass. If I can get the internal temperature to 110 degrees, then I can cook the steak, and it'll be very rare, but it'll be cooked. I contract salmonella. I go out in the desert and I set up like a room. It's basically like the cage from Cool Hand Luke, except it's a bunch of mirrors and metal to get really hot. And I just sit in there and I let it cook me. I get up to like 105, 107, 110. My ass is just completely filled with steak. 112, 114. I've broken the record for as high a temperature as anybody's ever had while still surviving. I crawl over to this piece of metal, reflective metal that's been sitting out in the sun all day. That's scalding hot. And I just like roll over on top of it. And it just like sears my skin, sends my temperature up to 120, and I die. And I have one of my assistants take my body and bring it over to the dinner where all these rich people are. You have like a Saudi prince, you have like some Habsburg descendant, you have some like Wall Street guys, some tech guys, and they're sitting around like a big table, lowly lit table, like drinking wine out of goblets and shit. And they bring me up and they slam me down on the table, and they cut me open, and there's a bunch of steak in there. I've myself have been cooked as well. So they just eat me stuffed with steak. And that's the meal. I thought that would be pretty sexy and hot if that happened. So it's another one where I die at the end. Just like what you were saying. But I feed a bunch of rich people. and make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like I'm imagining they're shelling out like $100,000 for this dinner because they get to taste human flesh.
Right off the bone. That's not bad. I mean, if that's like a very specific way to be turned on. You know?
Yeah, just imagine a bunch of people enjoying enjoying me, you know?
Yes. Fully devouring you.
Yeah.
They love you.
Yeah.
Finally, these people that you've been killing yourself to appease all your life.
I become part of them.
Yeah, they love you for it.
In a very spiritual sense, you know, they've consumed part of my flesh. What you got there? You're scrolling
I got a couple things.
Twitter.
No. I'm looking at my notes. Fantasy notes. I got a couple.
You sit around and if you have a fantasy, you just jot it down.
Yeah, if I had something like, for example, I got tunnels and boxes up here. Here's some ideas. Just some notions.
Uh-huh.
Printing pornography at a public printer at a cafe.
Yeah. Like the cafe's like the fax machine printer that the cafe has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you keep asking the people behind the counter to help you use the printer. Or doing it like FedEx. I got something printed at FedEx with such shitty quality.
Yeah.
But I like didn't want to bother them because I could tell they were on the verge of suicide.
Uh-huh.
But it would be cool to keep printing, just run of the mill meat and potato pornography at a FedEx.
And complaining about the quality.
Like complaining about it, the quality of the paper, and like you want the colors to be a certain way.
I promise you that's happened before.
Oh, here's a good fantasy prompt. Or just like this is like a fantasy, something that float through your head. Demanding that they be extremely present while having sex. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like being like doing that thing with your hand where you're like gesturing towards your eyes, like right here, keep it here, keep it here,
yeah,
keep it here. What's going on through your mind? What's going on through your mind? What are you
Where
thinking?
are you? You're in that place again. Where are you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That would be extremely sexual.
I don't know if I've talked about it on here before, but I know I've told you about it. The idea I had for a business called SnuggleTown, where you pay for somebody to snuggle you. You basically have a room, and you go and lay down. It's like a couch and a bed on it, and you just curl up in the bed.
You said you wanted
somebody.
it for like truck stops.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you wanted to do it for truckers.
Yeah. And so long haul truckers can have a place where they can stop and snuggle somebody. But you can also do it if you're in like emotionally distant relationships, or maybe like here's an example. Like your long distance relationship, your girlfriend's in the other side of the country. You go to SnuggleTown, she goes to SnuggleTown, she gets a guy to snuggle her, you get a girl to snuggle, and then you FaceTime. So you can like pretend that you're.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just one way to make it work. There's a lot of different ways that you can pay for some kind of human connection because you're too lonely and miserable, objectionable for people to find somebody to do that without paying them for it.
I drove by an old apartment I lived in the other day, and I just saw some strangers living in there. A bunch of young kids. And I thought it'd be fun to go in there and ask them if they could see the apartment because you spend a lot of time there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then just go in there, just like pounding the wood. Be like, damn, it's still holding up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're talking to you, and you're like, yes, this neighborhood's changed a lot when I was coming up here. And I kind of like trail off. And then I like envision like a corner I had sex in with one person. You know what I mean? I'm just like having like a total flashback.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm sorry, you trailed off what you're saying. I was like, oh yeah. It's just the neighborhood's changed a whole lot.
Yeah.
I can't even afford to live here anymore. Busting their balls a little bit. Basically just going around the place and just looking at all the different places I've had sex in this apartment that at the time I kept completely empty.
Yeah.
And I would just bring back like sex workers to have sex with.
I think it'd be cool if you like you start tapping on you put your ear to the ground, you start tapping the floorboards, and you find one that's hollow, and you lift it up, and there's just a bunch of your cum in there. Like, oh my god, it's still there.
It's a jaw.
Oh my god, I forgot about this.
You're not gonna believe what this is. Yeah. That would be cool.
One summer I thought I was gonna die, so I just kept saving my cum in a jar.
Oh, for my notes for the group of women at the cafe, I thought it'd be cool if I played a harmonica for them. Like I won them over at one point before I knew what was going on. I'd play a harmonica in the cafe. And then eating an apple and talking to someone. Eating an apple with a knife while talking to someone, and they're just like literally being bored to death. You know what I mean? Like your mouth's full of food and you're like, ugh. You know, I just thought that would be fun. Just a fun thing to do to someone.
Yeah.
Like you're holding them hostage. I actually saw it in this movie called The Mean Season, starring Kurt Russell.
Oh.
And this bad guy is doing that, and I thought that was pretty cool.
That was cool. Thought it'd be cool to have at the end of an office Christmas party orgy, all the guys bust into like a chalice, and then in the spirit of the holiday giving, they donate the cum to charity.